Hello, this afternoon we're going to look at page 6, question number 30, and it has f of x equals 1/2 x squared plus x minus 3. Now if you look at this, remember that f of x is just a fancy way of saying y. It's a name for a function. So we have y equals 1/2 x squared plus x minus 3. So the first thing we need to figure out is what is our vertex and line of symmetry. So remember that equation is a negative b over 2a. So our b value in this question, there's nothing there, so we imagine that there's a 1. So we're going to have a negative 1 over 2 times 1/2. So that's going to give me a negative 1. And then 2 times 1/2 is going to give me 1. So that will give me a negative 1. So that's going to make my table pretty simple because I have a whole number. And I have my negative 1 in the middle. I'm going to go and add 1 to that. That will give me 0. Add another 1 to that, and give me 1. I want to subtract 1, so give me a negative 2, and subtract another 1 to give me a negative 3. So let's plug our values in and figure out what our equations would be. So if we're looking at our vertex or line of symmetry, that's the vertex, and the line of symmetry. So if I plug a negative 1 into our original equation, we're taking 1/2 times a negative 1 squared plus 1 times a negative 1 minus 3. So if I take a negative 1 squared, that'll give me a positive 1, so I'm going to get 1/2. And if I take 1 times a negative 1, it gives me a negative 1 minus 3. So if I add those together, negative 1 minus 3 would give me a negative 4, plus 1/2 would give me a negative 3.5. So that's our vertex point. Now let's look if we take 1/2 times 0 squared plus 1 times 0 minus 3. Well, because those are all zeros, those are all going to cancel out. So that's going to give us a negative 3. We're going to plug that in here. And we know that the negative 2 is also going to give us a negative 3 because that's symmetric. So now let's look when we plug in a 1. We're taking 1/2 times 1 squared. Let's make that 2 look more 2-like. And then plus 1 times 1 minus 3. And a 1 squared times 1/2 will give us 1/2. Plus 1 minus 3. So 1 minus 3 will give us a negative 2. Negative 2 plus half will give us a negative 1.5. So that's our value there. Remember, because it's symmetric, that's also negative 1.5. So now we have enough points to plot our graph. Now if we look at that, all of our x values, they're mostly negative, and our y values are also negative, so it's probably going to be down in our third quadrant. So we're going to put the graph like that. So we have our central point, which was a negative 1. So if I have a negative 1, negative 3.5. So negative 1, negative 3.5 is going to be there. If I look at 0, that was at a negative 3. So if we go one unit that way, it's also going to be a negative 3. And we have our 1 value, a negative 1.5, which is going to be about there. If we go out to a negative 3, that was a negative 1.5. So let's draw our curve, and like that. Draw our curve going out this direction, and out like that. Make that bigger. So then we have our line of symmetry going down here. And this is our vertex. And that is question number 30 on page 6. Have a great day.